Right, here we go, test time. I want to try a bunch of different lenses. I want to see what happens, what I can do with the room. I want to find a good setup for like a set environment. So here we go. I know that everything in the background at the moment is a mess, so that would probably need tidying. This might not even be the best place in the room to put all this stuff. I mean, I could probably make a more interesting looking background, probably even shift it around a little bit, or I don't know. But whatever the background is, I'm interested in how wide the field of view is, and also how much depth of field there is. So at the moment, this is the Sigma lens, the 18-35. It's at its widest setting, so it's at 18mm. But because of the way that the Sigma works, it's a bit odd. You have to add the focus zoom thing on it, so it's probably like, I think that's 1.2 times. So it's 18mm times 1.2 times 0.7, which is probably actually still about 18mm or thereabouts. I'm not sure. That's where we're at the moment. The aperture, so I'm just looking on my phone at the settings, 2.2. So I've not opened it all the way out because I want to kind of make sure that like sorry, I keep looking over here. I've got a monitor set up over here as well. In fact, if I do a bit of video, I could probably shove that over the top. Oh no, the app's just decided it's gonna, oh there we go, because it's, so I've got the GH5 here, got the GH5, and then because I've got a spare TV next to my desk, I've got here, I can monitor it quite easily. I'm not actually sure if that's good or not. It might be better once you've got your framing done to turn the telly off, because you just keep looking at the telly instead, but we'll see. So other options are then, I think on initial inspection the background isn't blurry enough for me, so I'm going to make some adjustments and I'll be back. Right, okay, test number 2, zoomed in a little bit more. This is now going to be at the larger end of the scale, so this is going to be the 35mm end of the spectrum. I've left everything else the same, so we're at f2.2. I think that gives me enough range, like, because I don't want it to be too shallow, because I don't want it to go in and out of focus. Now I'm looking at the peaking on my face on this monitor. I think if I were to sit forward a bit, I still look kind of in focus. If I were to sit back here, still in focus a bit. I think I'm going out of focus now though. Sort of in focus from about here to here. It's a decent amount of range. You're not going to be massively moving your head around and stuff. I could open it and stop down again, I suppose. So right, this is really at the extremities now. This is f1.1. So I haven't changed any other aspects of the exposure, so the image should have brightened up a lot more. Background should be a lot more blurry. Don't know if it looks good or not. I don't know how blurry you want to go. As for focus, looking at the peaking, I'm out of focus here if I go too far by 4 by the looks of it. I think I'm back in focus again now, and I'm out of focus again. So I've got less of a range, sort of about here. That's if I wanted to just sit comfortably. Right, according to this, it thinks I'm in focus about here. As soon as I sit back though, out of focus. So this one I feel is a bit too shallow. Needs to be a bit this. But as for the width, seems alright. I don't mind this. I don't think it actually needs to be much wider than this, potentially. And if you were to sort of dress it up, let me refocus. If you were to dress it up a bit, put some lenses on the shelf up here, do whatever. This might be alright for just piece the camera stuff, perhaps. There's other things that I want to add to the setup though. We need to test mics, I need to test Ben's lens, and I want to test a light. So next thing I'm going to try is adding in a light. Okay, I got a bit hot and sweaty. I put a hat on. I don't know. I look cool now. This is what cool people do. So, I've introduced a new bit. We have a light, big fuck off light. In fact, bit more video incoming. Got the little setup here. Wine, because wine is important. Oh, I think my phone's decided that's not enough of that. And then this monster. So it's you can't dim it. You can diffuse it. It came with like a diffuser thing. I don't know if it's a bit too bright at the moment. I might want to move it back across the room a little bit perhaps, but I've kind of adopted a more comfortable stance. I'm sat back in the chair a little bit. So I've had to change the aperture. I mean, because of the light being so bloody bright, it's really bright. I've changed the aperture down to, well, in fact, let me have a look. I could see it on the screen, but there's a fucking plant in the way, so I can't see anything. So right now we're at f2.2. So, and we're quite zoomed in. I think we're still at the 35mm range, so we're quite zoomed in. We should still have a lot of that bokeh in the background. Again, could improve scenery in the background. Could perhaps even adjust the camera so, I don't know if we get more of that side of the room or this side of the room. I don't know. I need to frame this scene a little bit better, I think. I think maybe if it was a bit further across that way and you couldn't see this, and there was just like lenses on the mantelpiece bit or something, might be quite good. I don't know. So yeah, that's it with this light. I'm at ISO 400 as well, which is the native ISO, which is supposedly what you're supposed to be using. Supposedly. But I wonder in fact if I change it on the fly here. I mean, I've always thought, why can't you just use, let's go for ISO 200. So ISO 200, I mean this looks a little bit better exposed straight away. The light doesn't look like it's fucking killing me. I don't know how this is going to translate with quality. I suppose we'll find this out in post, won't we? But ISO 200, I'm sweating like a bitch. This light's pretty, well it's not even that, it's just hot in here. I need to open the window or something. But if I were to move the light back a little bit, across further into the room that way, I don't know how it's going to affect, if it will look less weird on my face. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to move it across. I've moved it quite far over that way. It's, you know, does this look a little bit more natural? I think it's casting quite a lot of shadows on things now though. But if I was filming this during the daytime, the window's right there, so there'd be a lot of natural light also coming in. So maybe I should probably be testing this more at like a proper time. So this is with the light a bit further away. We're still using the Rode Videomic Pro. We're ISO 200. F2-ish seems, I think, to be the way to go for the depth of field because of the amount you can move your head. Even this, when I'm looking at the peaking, I think if I go too far, I think I'm out of focus here. Out of focus, out of focus. So you'd have to kind of keep your head fairly still, but I suppose you wouldn't be dancing around like a lunatic anyway. Let's try Ben's lens. Right, here we are. I've still got my light. I'm back on Ben's lens. I ain't thinking this wide now. I've seen some more stuff. I don't think the wide is the way to go, which is kind of good. I'm glad I played with this a little bit because I don't know. We're getting a lot of stuff in the background, but then I am sat kind of quite far away from the camera. But do you want to see all this mess, or is it easier to build like a little scene behind you that looks a little bit tidier, perhaps? Like if I were to sit further forward, like imagine I was more like this, and let me refocus it on my face. Okay, I'm refocused on my face. I mean, the background is a bit blurry now, but I don't know if this is a little bit too imposing. I feel like I'm really up in your face right now. I don't know if I'd like this. I've got a big spot on my nose as well, which isn't ideal. But let's try a different focal length with this same lens and see what happens. But I think if you're encroaching in the focal length that you can get with the Sigma, then there's no point me getting a new lens. But let's find out. Right, so you can really get quite close up with this, uncomfortably so. This is at the other end of the spectrum, so this is the 35, which would be like a 70mm. This is what a 70mm would look like. I think it might be a little bit too close. See, I think this looks like a better sort of setup. I think maybe if I was sat a little bit higher up, yeah, looking at the frame, if I was sat a little bit higher up like this, maybe more in the middle, and I was just chatting, and we were doing about stuff, and I was saying, what's up everybody, welcome back to Totally Exposed, and in this episode, we're going to be doing blah blah blah. Might be alright. This could work. So the next question is, got my lights, cool, got two, so I could fill, or I could have a hair light behind me as well if I wanted to. So got lights. I think I've decided I don't need a lens then. Let's see if I can recreate it back on the Sigma again, hang on. Okay, so here I am back on the Sigma, f2.2, so I can crank this one down more because it goes through the speed, well it's an f1.8 lens anyway. But because it goes through the speed boost, because it goes through the speed booster, I can crank it down a little bit more anyway. I think this seems fine. I'm not really that bothered now. I think if I had this, the background looks blurry enough. I could probably crank it a bit more. I could open up the aperture, but I just have to sit really still then. Like if I really opened up the aperture, what can we get? So yeah, that's it, it's blurriest, and I'd have to sit very, very still in order to not go out of focus. But you know, that could be doable, I think it looks quite nice. The light helps, and then if I had another light, that would probably help a bit as well. I think maybe if I set the other one up and it was behind me shining across like a hair light or something, might be quite good. Okay, so let's say that this is cool. Let's go to audio. So right now I'm on the Rode Videomic Pro and it's going straight into the camera. What I want to try now is setting up the what's it called? H4n. Set up the taser and we'll give that a whirl. What I've done here, scientific test. I've still got the Rode Videomic Pro recording and I can see in my screen, can I see on my monitor here? No I can't, but I can see in my screen there, that's sort of about 3/4-ish, that's peaking up. I've also now set up the H4n and that's recording down there, and that I've set the input level at 70. It's a bit hard to see because I can't see the screen and whilst I'm sat over here, so this might take a bit of tweaking. But that's input level 70. So let's do a direct comparison. This is the Rode Videomic Pro. As I'm talking. And now, this is the Zoom recorder, the H4n, and I'm talking. Like I say, this is the Zoom video recorder. It's right on the edge of my desk. It's at level 70. I'm going to attempt to play with the gain of this and see whether I need a bit more or I need a bit less, so let's attempt to do that now. Okay, so this is also still on the Zoom recorder, and this is at 80, record level 80, and I can sort of see that we're kind of getting a bit better, but again this is this level 80, and then let's see how this compares. We're going to go back to the Rode Videomic Pro now, and now we're back on the Rode Videomic Pro, which is still actually attached to the GH5. I can't really be bothered because I think, in fact I don't even think I've got it. Has this got a line in? So I could attempt recording the Rode Videomic Pro and plugging it into the Zoom and just seeing whether that's any better. I'm kind of going for a Timmy Mallet vibe now. See what that looks like. Pretty cool. Okay, so this is recording on the H4n, and this is level 85. Same position, right on the end of my desk. I should probably make a note of where this chair is because this is all going to change. Okay, finally we're at 90. I can't imagine it would need to go much more than 90, but maybe it would. Maybe I'm totally misunderstanding. But what I can see, it looks like 90 actually might be pretty good. We might be alright about 90. So we have to just examine the footage, see what we think. Yeah, Cool. Hopefully one of these things will solve our setups for our videos, and we'll be banging, we'll be ready to go. This fucking light is a bit bright though. A bit bright for my face. I think, like I say, I might need another light that's by the side of me or behind me, but we can add to it. I got a little fucking LED one down there as well. Just a little light might be quite good. Anyway, enough rambling. This is the world's longest, most boring video. Like it if you liked it. Subscribe for more terrible videos like this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.